Hello everyone, my name is KiwiGumdrop and we are back with another Create a Sim video. This is a part of my KiwiGumdrop Against the World series where I create families and move them into a new town that I created. If you do like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and make sure to turn those notifications on so you never miss an upload. Whew, I am out of breath as always. This is the Francis family. I based them off of a Hispanic family. Ramon and Isabella are the parents, and they are also immigrants. I didn't really specify a country, but they definitely have a story of starting from the bottom and kind of working their way to the top. Ramon and Isabella actually met when they were 16 years old. Ramon was always very hardworking, he was always very ambitious, and he knew that he wanted a better life than the life that he was living, It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good, he was making just enough to live, and he wanted more for himself, and he wanted more for his future family. And so he did well in school and he was able to get a scholarship that allowed him to go to a prestigious culinary arts school, which then allowed him to get his current job as a caterer. And so then he moved to Oasis Springs when he was 17 years old to go to this school. And, he had been working for about 4 years. This whole time he was still contacting his childhood friend Isabella. He met Isabella when he was 16 years old, but when he moved, they still kept in contact. And finally, when he was 20 years old, he asked if Isabella would like to come down to Oasis Springs and to be with him. So that's when they really started their romantic relationship, was when they were 20 years old. And by this time Ramon was pretty stable, and Isabella was a little different than him. Her situation was much worse at home. She didn't really finish high school because she was taking care of her sick mother, who sadly has already passed away at this point. And so when Isabella came to Oasis Springs, she kind of didn't have any education. She didn't really have a very good starting point. But the good thing about Ramon was he, was the caregiver, he was the breadwinner, and he was very kind to her and kind of allowed her to play around with hobbies and just kind of see what she likes. And that's how Isabella found art. And so she began painting when she first moved to Oasis Springs, and she wasn't exactly the best at it, but she grew in her skill and is actually now able to profit off of her artwork. And so she kind of does that as a side job. Of course, she is now a mother of 2, but she still does like to paint. So she doesn't really do it as a full-time career. However, she does do it on the side and gains money from it. She's also using all the savings that she earns from painting to afford her children's college. She's kind of saving up, hoping that they'll both go to university. Isabella, as you see, is a very beautiful woman. She's definitely my favorite, and I spend the most time on her during this Create a Sim. She really does inspire me because not only did she, create a career for herself without any education, she also is very involved in the community. She loves, going to the city and participating in campaigns. She's also in many parent associations, and she, has always been a very supportive, active mother, always going to shows and sports events, and she always likes to create play dates and, playground parties and all types of things. She's always very, very active. She's definitely an up and go type of mother, and I really respect her for that. Isabella is much more proactive in adulting than Ramon is, but they have a pretty good balance because Ramon is, oftentimes he works pretty late, and so Isabella takes care of the children while he goes off to work. And Isabella has always been completely fine with that. She had always wanted to be a mother, and she's so happy to be involved and so involved in her children's lives. Sometimes she wishes Ramon would be a little more proactive, but she understands that Ramon kind of has a hard time connecting with the children and that it's something that he just has to work on gradually. She can't really force it onto him. And it's not that Ramon doesn't love his children. He does love his children, and he works very hard to make sure that they have everything that they can possibly ever want. It's just sometimes hard for him to connect on a playful level with them because he's never really been playful. He's always been very serious. While Isabella, was around children when she was younger and is kind of used to, how to interact with kids in a loving but respectful and honest way. And so Isabella kind of helps him and is helping him currently try to connect with the kids more. And Ramon, he has been trying really hard, and he is working even more than he usually does because he is trying to get hired as a chef, and he then wants to eventually own his own restaurant. So that's what he's really working towards right now, and that's his main focus in his career. And so he is just so excited because he's getting really close to being able to get that promotion, and once he does, he'll be able to open his own shop, which is what he ultimately even came to Oasis Springs to do. So it's definitely a long time coming because they're both adults now. They're in their later 30s. And so he's really just would like to have something that has his name, and so that he'll have kind of a legacy after him that he can pass down to one of his children. And like I said, Isabella is a very fashionable woman. So we have officially, I think, seen all of her outfits, and we're soon going to move on to their firstborn child, Gabriella. And she is quite a feisty little girl. Or I guess not little girl anymore. She's growing into a woman. And so here we are going to see Gabriella. I'm so excited. I love her. I just love teens in The Sims. I know they don't have a lot of things to do, but I just like creating them. So Gabriella has always been super smart. She is a bookworm. She loves to read, and she's a foodie like her dad. Ramon and Gabriella have been able to get quite closer nowadays, and so she really started to look up to him, and she really started to, show interest in his job and what he does for a living. And that kind of ended in her wanting to be a mixologist. And so she is currently, she's currently still a teen, so she can't practice making alcoholic drinks, but she does do some non-alcoholic drinks, making non-alcoholic cocktails and things like that. And she really does enjoy party life. So I think her as a barista will be a perfect match, honestly. She also kind of has, she's kind of at a weird point in her life right now because she's about, I would say, a sophomore in high school. And, she's always kind of been the shy, nerdy girl that everyone thinks is a goody two-shoes. And unfortunately for Gabriella, she kind of feels stuck. And so she is starting to be more rebellious in her behavior, and unfortunately she has been around the wrong crowd in high school. She actually met some older kids who are no longer in high school, I would say around 20-year-olds, and so she's been hanging a lot with that crowd and, has been going out to clubs that she shouldn't be going to, and has kind of been acting a little older than she truly is. As you see, I put a lot of makeup on her to kind of show like she's trying to look older and trying to like show off and say like, hey, I'm a bad girl, like I'm not a goody two shoes. And she's trying to prove a point to people who don't even really care. I just think that she really thinks that she has to prove herself, when in reality it would be better if she was just herself. But maybe this is just a phase, and maybe she'll grow out of it, and maybe she'll learn to just have confidence in herself and not want to have to prove herself to everyone. That's what I'm hoping for her. Or maybe she gets and stays into that wrong crowd and ends up getting arrested, or maybe she ends up having an accidental pregnancy. I mean, who knows? Anything is possible with Gabriella right now, and that's why I'm so intrigued by her, because I really want to see where her rebellious stage ends up. And I feel like a big reason why she started acting this way is because of her because of the birth of her younger brother Matteo. And Matteo, was a surprise to the whole entire family. No one was expecting Matteo. He was definitely a surprise baby. And, at the end of the day, even though he is such a bright and happy energy that is brought to this, kind of strict family, he's a lot of work and he needs a lot of attention. And, Gabriella has always been Isabella's little mini-me and her little, basically just her little princess. And when Matteo was born, Isabella kind of had to focus her attention on Matteo, who is a wild little toddler and is always taking up so much time and attention. And so I feel like Gabriella is kind of acting out to try, like she's almost hoping that her mother will catch her and her mother will, scold her, because she just kind of misses the connection her and her mother used to have before Matteo was born. And, hopefully, Gabriella will just learn to appreciate the new family dynamic, and we'll just learn that Isabella loves Gabriella so much and would never, that love would never go away. And I feel like once she gets a little older, she'll recognize that as the truth, and will realize that, she is beautiful and that she doesn't really need to prove herself to anyone, and she definitely doesn't need to prove herself to her mother. And, Gabriella and Matteo have a decent relationship. She doesn't have any animosity towards her brother. She just wishes that he didn't need so much attention. She kind of wishes that she was still the focus and the star in the household when she just isn't anymore. And that's kind of just a part of life and growing up. You can't always be a princess. And Gabriella's kind of having to learn that the hard way. And here comes Matteo. I'm so excited for him. Ramon loves Matteo. Ramon was so happy that Matteo was a boy and that he got to have a son, because, Matteo kind of has, Ramon kind of has a traditional way of thinking, and he wants to pass down the business to his son instead of his daughter. And we'll see how that plays out. Maybe Gabriella will be very upset by that, but who knows? Matteo might grow up to not even want to be in culinary arts, because Matteo already as a toddler is so feisty. I was playing with him earlier and I was trying to get him to eat his food and he threw it across the table. I was so upset. But, he's very, he doesn't really listen, and he's not very good at listening. So who knows? Maybe he'll grow up to be like that too. Maybe he'll be very rowdy and hard to get under control. But he is just a cute little boy. I can see him being very handsome. I can't wait to see what he looks like as a kid. Oh, I'm so excited. It's been so long since I've played kids in the game. And I am going to be actively playing this family. So maybe if you guys want an update, I'll definitely update you guys on it. I don't have much to say about Matteo yet because he's still a toddler, but Isabella, is always dressing him up super cute, and he likes the color blue like his older sister, which I think is kind of cute because he's already getting to that stage where he just wants to be around his older sister and he wants to hang out with her more. So I'm hoping they grow as a family and just grow as siblings to get along. And we're gonna get towards the end here soon, but I am super excited because I'm going to show you guys the house tour. And although I did not build the structure of the house, I did all of the interior myself, and I think it really does showcase, the simplicity of the family. And so here is just these little screenshots. And then here is the house. It is Springscape Avenue is what I named it. You come through the front door. It's a lot of neutral browns. I can kind of see Ramon just wanting it to be quite simple, quite warm and welcoming, and not too, high end, And then we're going to show you, this is Isabella's little art room. It's very small in the little corner there. This is the master bedroom. Very, again, still same neutrals, warm, simple. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the main bathroom. Isabella got to decorate this one, so it's a bit more colorful. And then we're going to go into Matteo's room. His favorite color is blue and orange. And then here's Isabella's. Her favorite color is a light blue as well. I think it's very personalized in there, very pastel, cute, light like her. And then here's the backyard. Very simple. Again, they don't really do a lot with decorations. They're pretty minimalistic when it comes to coloring and stuff. And here's the landscaping. I didn't do the landscaping. I kind of just left it the same. But yeah, there's the house, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy, and comment down below what you think about the Francis family.